My name is Robert McGarvey. I'm an associate and co-founder of the Genuine Wealth Institute. I work with Mark Anilski. And I'm also an executive committee member of the Economic Research Council in London, England. I've been working on changes in the economy, fundamental changes in the economy now for several decades. My principal area of research is in the area of assets and the asset revolution we're experiencing today. My interest in economics is long-standing, but my understanding of its fatal flaws is also an area of great interest for me. And so I work with a number of associates around the world on areas such as monetary reform and what I would call pricing reform. Many of the issues around price of any commodity is governed by a set of circumstances that exist in the here and now. Price is a bit of a snapshot on a particular window of the economic reality. And there are large, both political and geo-technical forces that are changing those realities constantly. So the global trends around that are very important, and understanding how those global trends are going to influence the structure of the global economy, the kinds of things we produce, where we produce them, and the price of them is, a critical area of my research. Well, urban agriculture, local food, these are, I think, I almost call them principal casualties of our economic structure. Now, if we go back in history, all food was local, and we designed food for our local populations. One of the, I think, great success stories of the modern world is to be able to expand what we call the network. So we're producing food on a larger basis, but of course that necessitates longer storage and distribution and all kinds of ancillary developments which impact the quality of food. And so I think yes, the structure of the economy does influence what we produce for food and where we produce it and the price we pay for it. So on the question of what are the economics of food, I don't think we have a terribly good idea. Based upon the price of anything, we're looking at inputs that are global in nature, but influenced by the people who control markets, for instance. Every commodity market has a set of price dynamics. It has traders who handle the exchange of commodities and who control the price by their intimate association with the supply. So they're manipulating supply, manipulating price to various ends. We see that in the oil industry, which has a cartel right in the very heart of it. We see that in the food industry by the sort of organizations that control the price of food and the supply of food. So the big issue for me is how are we making decisions based on what inputs, and what could possibly change in future that would affect the outcomes that we anticipate. And of course, we know from the rapidity which the United States closed the border for Alberta beef, that the price of anything and our access to global markets is tenuous, is political. And so I think the issue around local agriculture is we're making a set of assumptions based upon the free access and free movement of food across international borders, which is a dubious assumption. We're basing the choices we make on price determinants, which are not entirely free and clear of manipulation, and certainly include none of the potential risks going forward from the kinds of things that could happen politically around food being such a primary commodity. So what's the issue around local food? Well, it's, we're basically comparing, the food utility of our property to its utility in development, whether that's oil development or whether it's property development. And the inputs are skewed. So what's the full costed benefit of agriculture versus property development? Nobody really knows. It's not that we don't have, we simply don't have the information to make a rational decision that's going to incorporate anything that might happen longer term. And I think, you know, the price of anything depends upon its access to markets, and of course local agricultural industry does not have the access to the retail networks, doesn't have the distribution infrastructure necessary to consistently deliver it. So it has, again, a fundamental flaw on the infrastructure side, that these big, larger corporations build the infrastructure inside their own organizations. A small producer or a farmer has to try and replicate that in some ways. Lots of people do it in small ways, but it's very inefficient when you're trying to do it on a larger scale. So that infrastructure deficit contributes marginally to the pricing of local produce. Is more expensive than you can achieve in some other circumstances, simply because of the infrastructure deficit.